The Bible tells us weeping may endure for a night, but joy will soon come in the morning. You will look back one day when all is well and remember this day and be glad you never gave up. Thank you for joining us again as we celebrate Pleasant Green Missionary Baptist Church 150th year church anniversary. Come, join us now as Minister James Eatmon comes in his own way. God bless you.
Maybe that's the seed of the little. I jumped up from the floor to the middle. You think I want to pray along, the glory, and you wait for me. No, I know who sits on the throne, who makes the stage and writes the songs. And I know I couldn't do this on my own. And it's not just I complain. I see more sunshine than rain. And I can thank my lucky stars. But that's not where my blessings are. No, they come from the Father's heart. Not the sky, not chance, but truth is, I'm not lucky, I'm loved. 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 Today I'm in a happy place. And I know it didn't happen by mistake. I love how he wrote my life. And I love how he sees my heart. So I fall to my knees and I say that I'm grateful every morning start. So I can thank my lucky stars. But that's not where my blessings are. No, they come from the Father's heart. Not the sky, not chance, but truth is, I'm not lucky, I'm loved. Yeah, I'm not lucky, I'm loved.
How's everybody doing today? Once again, this is the Monday night service for Pleasant Green Missionary Baptist Church, basically leading up to our 150-year anniversary celebration, which will be Sunday. And today, I'm going to talk to you about I'm not lucky, but I'm loved. I'm not lucky, but I am loved. Now, for a church to be able to celebrate 150 years, a lot of things have to happen. You don't get to 150 years just out of the blue. A lot of good things have happened. A lot of trying things have happened. But a lot of things have to get in order to line up to get you to this point. Now, some of us sit there and say, well, 150 years, that's a long time. Well, I mean, in 150 years, you're going to see a lot of sunshine and you're going to see a lot of rain. We'll start off with Matthew verse 5. Matthew chapter 5, verses 21 through 46. Now, Jesus has just did the Sermon on the Mount. He's sitting there and he's talking to them and he says, he's still going through it. He's just did the Beatitudes. He says, you have heard, this is verse 21, Matthew 5, verse 21, you have heard that the ancients were told, you shall not commit murder. And whoever commits murder shall be liable to the court. But I say that everyone who is angry with his brother shall be guilty before the court. And whosoever say to his brother, you are good for nothing, shall be guilty before the Supreme Court. And whosoever say, you fool, shall be guilty enough to go into the fiery hell. So Jesus starts off kind of telling them the things that y'all used to, the laws that you used to say, hey, if we do these things, we're okay. I'm actually requiring more of you. First of all, I'm not even saying if you murder your brother. I'm saying you don't need to even have ill will towards me. You don't even need to speak ill will. You don't even need to be angry towards your brother. And he says, therefore, if you are presenting your offering at the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you, don't even give your offering. Leave. Go make amends with the brother. Go make amends with that person that you're holding angry against. I'm trying to think. I've been in this church for a little while, and I can't remember before the Lord's communion anybody just running out and trying to make amends for what they've done. I don't think I've done it, but I should have. I mean, I'm basically about to take communion, about to accept the blood and wine, about to celebrate the gift that God has given me, and I have anger against my own brother. And he's like, before you do this, you need to make sure, ask the Lord to clean my heart. Lord, the anger, what is inside me, take it away. And so it says, leave your offering, therefore, before the altar and go. First, be reconciled to your brother, and then come and present your offering. Make friends quickly with your opponent in law while you are with him on the way, so that your opponent may not hand you over to the judge, and the judge to the officer, and you be thrown in prison. Truly, I say to you, you will not come out of there until you have paid up the last cent. So Jesus is sitting there and telling them, hey, I don't need you to be angry towards your brother. Before you can give an offering, I actually need you to make amends, make peace with your brother before you come to my house. And before you talk about giving an offering unto me, I need you to do some things. So he comes to verse 27 and says, you have heard that it is said, you shall not commit adultery. But I say that everyone who looks at a woman with lust for her has already committed adultery with her in his heart. Now that one is hard, because a lot of times we like to once again say, well, I'm following the law, I didn't touch you. But in my mind, I tore up. And the Lord is saying, no. I don't need you lusting after somebody that ain't yours. So he's saying, what I need you to do, if your right eye makes you stumble, if you're looking and you feel, Lord, that my right eye is constantly pulling me towards this fleshly desire, he said, tear it out, throw it from you, for it is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown in hell. He said, you'd be better off being one of your eyes putting out, that eye that goes astray, it'd be better put out than for your whole body to go to hell. And a lot of us don't think about that because we're thinking, well, I didn't act on it, that it doesn't count. Or I was across state lines, it don't count. And God is saying, look, I need you to do more than that. I don't need you to sit there and dream about somebody else's. I don't need you to sit there and dream about somebody that ain't yours. But what I need you to do is look at what part of you is causing you to fall short, and address it. If it came to if God came to me and said, James, if I took out an eye, but you could go to heaven, I'm like, Lord, okay. I have to find a way to do without it. But I know my end goal is worth it. That's the problem. We don't sit and think about the end. Where are we trying to get to? My paradise is worth more. And so he says, if your right hand makes you stumble, cut it off and throw it from you. For it is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body, once again, to go to hell. And a lot of you are like, well, my right hand, I'm right-handed. Why can't it be my left hand? Well, God is saying that thing that you is causing you to not do the will of God. You need to look at it. I don't care if it's the right hand, right eye, left eye, whatever. You need to examine it and think about it. Are my actions justified in the eyesight of God? And are the things that I'm doing, could I sit in front of the Lord and say, Lord, this is what I've done today? And would he say, I'm proud of you? Or would he say, my son, why have you done this? So verse 31 says, it was said, whoever sends his wife away, let him give her a certificate of divorce. But I say to you that everyone who divorces his wife, except for the reason of unchaste, make her commit adultery, and whoever marries a divorced woman commits adultery. Again, you have heard that the ancients were told, you shall not make false vows, but you shall vow to the Lord. But I say to you, make not an oath either in heaven, make not an oath neither by heaven, for it is the throne of God, or by the earth, for it is the footstool of his feet, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. Nor shall you make an oath by your head, for you cannot make one hair white or black. For those who know me, I got a lot of gray hair. I've had gray hair since I was little. And I used to pull it out because I didn't like it. And you pull it out and it seemed like more grew. And so as a kid, you got gray hair, it's like, oh, you sneak into a few places you don't need to sneak into. But eventually, I realized that that's one of the things I can't control. That's one of them things. I might could get some hair dye and dye my gray hair black, but it's still gray. It's just gray hair that's covered black. And so he's saying, you cannot say, I'm going to make an oath to do something. I'm going to do this because I don't control my destiny. I don't. I might make choices, but my choices is all hoping and that God is going to do his portion. If I go outside today and get in my car and crank it up, I hope it cranks. It might not. If I drive down the road in my mind, I'm going to go home and do this. I might not make it. It might be my hour to go. And so he's saying, you shall not make an oath by your head, for you cannot make one hair of yours white and black. But let your statement be yes or no. Anything beyond that is of evils. Don't sit there and talk about what you can and what you cannot do when you don't even control your own faith, let alone somebody else's. You say, if it's the Lord's will. If God wants us to do it, we're going to do it. And put it in his hand. So it says, you have heard that it is said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you, do not restrict an evil person. But whoever slaps you on your right cheek, that was a little hard. Because it's not saying slap them on their right cheek. It says, but whoever slap you on your right cheek, turn the other cheek to them also. If anyone wants to sue you, take your shirt, let them have the coat also. Whoever forces you to go 1 mile, go with him 2. Jesus is sitting there telling them these things. The things that these people are trying to do, I don't need you to react. Don't give hate for hate. Don't give anger for anger. What I actually need you to do is look and be like, well, you're taking my shirt. Well, you need some pants too, because if you're so bad off that you need my shirt, maybe I need to look at you and reconsider this in a different light than to think that maybe you need this. My Lord will provide for me. I don't have to worry about it. But maybe you're in a situation where you don't have that same relationship. And you're just trying to do this. You're lashing out, you're attacking, you're coming at me because you don't have that peace. But I do. And I should be trying to give it to you, to show you how I have access to that, to show you that I have a God that not only created me, but created you too. And so, he says, you have heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may be sons of your Father who's in heaven. For he causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good. In this 150 years of Pleasant Green, the sun has risen on those who were doing thus saith the Lord and those that were not. Good things have happened to those that were strong believers and devoted, and good things have happened to those that were not. People were blessed that did evil things, and people were blessed that did good things. Now, 150 years is a lot of time. Now, the second part says, and the rain. So he causes the sun to rise on the evil and the good, and he sends the rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. And 150 years, a lot of rain is came on people who are doing godly things. A lot of times we're doing things that we're like, Lord, I'm trying to do what you told me to do, but I constantly feel like I'm getting rained on. I constantly feel like I'm fighting against the storm. Lord, I thought you had my back. Why are you allowing the rain to rain on me? But yet that person who's sitting up beside me is doing all this wickedness, and you letting them see sunshine. And it's like, look, they're going to have their rainy day. But the thing with you is I know you understand that your good days outweigh your bad. That you have more sunshine than you do rain. And I know you know that no matter if it's in the sun or the rain, I'm with you. And so he says, for if you love those who love you, what reward do you have? So out of 150 years, Pleasant Green has went through a lot of rain and a lot of sunshine. Also, out of 150 years, in order to get to this point, We like to say, yep, Jesus is a way maker. He makes a way out of no way. And basically what's that saying is, I done got to a situation to where I couldn't see my way out. No matter what I did, no matter who I was going to call, they weren't going to have an answer for what I needed. And so when I called on the Lord, he made the impossible possible. He made a way out of no way. So in Romans 8, verses 28 through 39, it says, and we know that all things work together for the good of them that loves God, to them who are called according to his purpose. He starts off saying that everything that you go through, the rain, the sunshine, everything we just was talking about, all of that is for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose. All of it has a purpose. Sometimes the Lord will rain on you, and once you get out of your rain, somebody else who isn't strong enough is in it. And they're looking to you to see, how did you survive that? How are you still smiling? How you still got your head held up high? And that way you can take your testimony and say, look, it was tough. I just went through something that shook me to my core. But it made me have a closer relationship with God. And so he says, for whom he did foreknow, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be firstborn among many brethren. Moreover, who he did predestine, them he also called. And whom he called, them he also justified. And whom he justified, them he also glorified. What shall we say then to these things? If God be for us, then who can be against us? If you put things in perspective and you think about it, I have the Creator on my side. I have the Alpha and Omega on my side. I'm on his team. I'm not only on his team, I'm part of the family. And the things that are coming at me, they pale in comparison to the one that created this, to our Heavenly Father, to the one who started this. My God is way more powerful than any situation that comes at me. The problem is the situation can get close to you. The situation can get under your skin. And a lot of times we don't let God get close to us. We want to keep him in arm's length. We treat God sometimes like he's a fire extinguisher. Only break that glass, only use that fire extinguisher if there's a fire. And he's like, I don't want to be a fire extinguisher. I want to be more like the salt you use on a daily basis. When you get to the point and you're cooking, you always reach for it. Some days you got to use a little more. Some days you might not have to use that much, but you're still reaching for me. You're still bringing me into your life. You don't have me in some glass just to call on when things go crazy. So he says, who is he that commandeth? Is it Christ that died? Yea, rather, that is risen again, who is even at the right hand of God, who also maketh intercession for us. Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? And I thank God for this. Shall tribulations, those things that we're going through, those trials, shall distress, that the pressure that we feel, shall persecution, people coming against us, or famine, food, hunger, or nakedness, or peril, or the sword, shall any of that separate us from the hand of Jesus? As it is written, for their sake we are killed all the day long. We are accounted as sheep for the slaughter. Without Jesus in your life, without knowing God. That's all we are. We are sheep waiting for the slaughter. There's wolves out there, and we're blindly eating grass. But when you have the good shepherd, I can blindly eat grass because I know he got my back. I know the wolf, it might come at me, but it ain't gonna take me out because my shepherd got my back. So it says, nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him that loves us. See, that's the thing. It's like, well, he's a way maker. He makes way out of no ways. Yep, but he's not only making you a way out of no way, he's also making you more than a conqueror. To get to 150 years of anniversary, to get to this point, the Lord didn't just make you a way out of no way. While he was making you a way, he said, I'm going to make you more than conquerors. This ain't going to take you out. It's going to make you stronger. So next time you come to a situation, you ain't going to be sitting there struggling with it. You're going to be like, Lord, you done take me through this already. I know you can take me through this. I already got a relationship with my God. I ain't worried about this. So for 150 years, Pleasant Green had to not only know the Lord was a way maker, but also made them more than conquerors. So, and the last thing, to get to 150 years, and this is when he's a doctor in a sick room. We like to say that a lot. And a lot of times, some of us don't really know what that means because we ain't never been in a sick room where the doctor could heal us in our mind. We go and we got a flu, we expect to get medicine. We go, we got a stomach virus, we expect to get medicine. We go, we got this, we expect to get medicine. How many of us have been to the doctor and the doctor didn't have the answer? And I thank God for prayer. Oh, Lord, I thank God for prayer. I remember my daughter, Grace, we were sitting there, and she was a baby. And she was probably, Lord, she wasn't even maybe about 2 or 3 months old. I'll say closer to 2 than 3. And I remember we sitting there, and she was starting to feel a little bad. And as a father, my mind couldn't rest. And so she was in her room, and my wife was sitting there. My son was in his room at the time. He was about 2. And it's middle of the night. And so I got up to check her temperature because I couldn't rest. And so I got up to check her temperature. I didn't think about this. I didn't just get up. I didn't have an alarm set. I was awakened to go check her temperature. So when I go check her temperature, I was like, before I check her temperature, let me at least give her some medicine. I gave her her medicine. And then when I checked her temperature was 103. And at the time, it was like, if her temperature gets to 105, it's catastrophic for the human body. It can basically boil your brain. If your temperature stays at 105 for too long, you probably won't make it. And so when I sat there and took her temperature was 103, I looked at her and she was shivering. And I was like, oh my Lord. And so this is the middle of the night. She's sitting there shaking. I screamed to my wife, Tamika, get up, we gotta go. I throw her in the car seat, fasten her in, and I look, and Tamika's up, my wife's up, she got my son, he's half dressed, but he's up, and we're in the car before I even know it. We're driving to the emergency room, and it felt like I didn't have time to say, Lord, hey, Lord, this is James, do you remember me? This is my daughter. I need you to take care of her. I didn't have time for that. But I thank God for prayer. I thank God that I had a relationship with her. And so when we got there, we didn't even have to wait. That was the fastest I'd ever been through the emergency room, to be honest. Lord. But the thing is, when we got there, and we told them what we was there for, and they took her temperature, and it's like, no, come on back here. And we sat and we stayed in the emergency room, and because The Lord had woke me up. I gave her the medicine before taking her temperature. The medicine she had in the system had already started working. And so we just basically hung around. They gave her a little more medicine. And we left maybe about 2-3 hours later. It was a long night. It was a long night. But the thing is, God made a way. That could have went a totally different way. If I hadn't woken up, if I had just stayed asleep. That's the thing. So Mark 2, Jesus is sitting there and he's talking to them, and he comes to it and says, when he had came back to Capernaum several days afterwards, it was heard that he was at home, and where he gathered together, so there was no longer room. At the door he was speaking the words to them, and there came, bringing to him, a paralytic carried by 4 men. These guys had their friend, they were carrying him, 4 of them, and it got to the point where when they got to the door, they couldn't get in. But they knew that the person inside could change his life, could change his situation. And so it says that being unable to get to him before the crowd, they removed the roofs. So they basically had to get on top. And not only get on top of the roof, but also pull the guy who's paralyzed up there. Instead of sitting there screaming at the door saying, y'all, let Jesus out, let Jesus out. They're like, no, I know a better way, a quicker way to get to God. And so they climbed on top of the roof, tore the roof off. And lowered the paralyzed guy to him. And it says, being unable to get him to the crowd, they removed the roof from above him when they had dug an opening, and they let down the pallet which the paralyzed man was on. And Jesus, seeing their faith, seeing how much they loved that person. In order to do that, you got to love somebody. In order to do that, you got to know the answers on the other side. And it says, seeing their faith, son, your sins are forgiven. But the scribes and the Pharisees, they're like, hold on. Why does this man speak this way? He is blasphemous. You can't forgive sins, but God alone can do that. And immediately Jesus, aware in his spirit that they were reasoning the way with themselves, said to them, why are you reasoning about these things in your heart? Which is easier for me to do to the paralyzed man, to forgive him of his sins or to pick him up so he can walk? But so that you know that the Son of Man has authority over earth to forgive sins, he said to the paralyzed man, I say to you, come on, get on up. Get your pallet and go. And he got up, immediately picked us back. Think about the paralyzed man sitting there, laying there. You're sitting there and you're in the presence of Jesus. And your friends have brought you there. They lowered you down. You've actually got to the point till you see somebody who can hopefully change your life, and he doesn't even touch you. He don't even make a prayer for you. He don't even say nothing for you. He looks at you and say, get up, get your stuff, and go. And you're thinking, Lord, you don't know my situation. I can't do that. But the paralyzed man at least said, well, hold on. Somebody with authority is telling me to do this. And so he got up. He didn't say, whoa, hold on, I'm up. It says he got up, picked up his stuff, and went out of the sight of everyone. He followed the instructions of the Lord to the letter because he was expecting for his answer. And once he received it, he didn't question it. He didn't question how I was given the instructions. He's like, you gave me an answer, and Lord, I'm going to believe and follow you. And it says, and he got up and immediately picked up his pallet, walked out of their sight, so that they were amazed and glorified God. We have never seen anything like this. And he went out again to the seashores, and the people were coming to him, and he was teaching them. And verse 14 says, as he passed by, he saw Levi, the son of Alphaeus, sitting in the tax booth. And he said to him, follow me. And he got up and followed him. And it happened that he was reclining at the table in the house, and many tax collectors and sinners were eating with him. For they were many of them, and they were following him. When the scribes and the Pharisees saw that you were eating with those folks, why is he eating with the tax collectors and the sinners? I don't think Jesus knows who he dining with. And hearing this, Jesus said, it is not that I've come for those who are healthy. Those who are healthy don't need a physician, but those who are sick. I did not come to call the righteous, but the sinner. To get to 150 years, Pleasant Green, there's a lot of times where we were on that sinner side. And I thank God that's what Jesus came for. But now that we're converted, now that we're supposed to be the righteous, we don't need to be like the scribes and Pharisees and say, Lord, I can't believe you're associating yourself with those people right there. But what we need to do is open our doors and our heart to everyone. Because at once we were lost. But I thank God we're found now. So the title of this sermon was, I'm not lucky, but I'm loved. And you probably just heard the kids sing the Jonathan McRiddle song. And it goes, maybe I succeeded a little. I jumped up from the floor to the middle. He had some success. You think I want the credit? I don't. Because the glory ain't made for me, no. I know who sits on the throne. He said, look, you think I want the credit? You think the stuff that God has blessed me with is me? No, I know who sits on the throne. And who makes the stage and writes the song. It's kind of strange for him to say, because you would think that he'd be talking about himself, but he understands my gift, everything that I am is because of God. And so he's saying that even though you see me, all I am is just a vessel. And he says, and I know I couldn't do it on my own. And as much as I complain, I've seen more sunshine than rain. So no matter how bad the situation is, I guarantee you, God has been good to you. You might not agree with the way he's been good to you, but he's been better to you than you've been to yourself. He showed you more love than sometimes you can even show yourself. But Jonathan McReynolds says, and I could thank my lucky stars, because that's a lot of times we like to give credit to those things that are not God. The things that are happening in our life, we like to give credit to somebody else. Oh, I thank God that such and such. Well, we don't even say God. Such and such, you really came through. You saved me that time. Such and such, you really helped me out. Such and such. And I was like, well, yeah, but who sent them? In order for them to be able to do what they did, who sent them? And he says, but that's not where my blessings are. No, they come from the Father's heart. Think about that. God loves you. And because his love for you, you are blessed. There is nothing that you do to allow you to be blessed. You don't work for it. You don't deserve it. You cannot work enough for God to bless you. But the reason he bless you is because he loves you. And he says it comes from the Father's heart. Not the sky, not chance, but the truth is, I'm not lucky. I'm loved. I'm not lucky. I'm not. Luck plays no part in my life. But it's a whole lot of love. So Pleasant Green, that 150th anniversary we're about to celebrate, it's all about the love of God. To get to that, it just shows how much he loves us and how much we should be willing to love others. He said, first love me with all your heart, mind, body, and soul, And secondly, love your neighbor as you love yourself. Thank you. Be blessed.
I hope you enjoyed that powerful message from Minister Eatmon, and we're truly blessed just to be here. Join us on tomorrow night as we bring you another special speaker who's going to bring a powerful word. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy will come in the morning. You're going to look back on this day and be glad you never gave up. God bless you until tomorrow night, if it's the Lord's will. Be blessed.